Hey friends, Ash here. Welcome back to Gents. Hope you're well. Today, we are embracing the hate. We're letting it flow through us. All hate, no happiness. We're just delving headfirst today into hater reviews of some of the most hyped, most beloved men's fragrances ever. And I think I'm gonna make this a series. I think it's, yeah. So I've gone through different fragrance websites and pulled reviews from people who just absolutely hate the scents we're gonna be talking about today. And yeah, they got a pretty good amount to say. We're doing 5 different scents today, and you're gonna know every single one of these, no doubt. And the 5 fragrances are linked in the description in case you wanna go spoil the ones that we're talking about before I get to them. Let's jump into it with one of the most popular, best-selling men's fragrances ever. If you know anything about fragrances, cologne, perfume, whatever you wanna call it, then you know this one. It's Dior Sauvage Eau de Toilette, the original Sauvage. Notice I said the original Sauvage, not the original Eau Sauvage. So this one launched around September 2015, which is actually a really common time for fragrances to launch, kind of August, September. A lot of bigger releases come out around that time frame. And I've got a nice selection of different reviews for you guys here, and a lot of them are from around the launch of the scent when it first hit in 2015. That way we can get a little bit of that taste of how this one was received when it first came out. All good things, right? Very, very positive. The first review reads, complete generic mess. Really pathetic, really. I am not a fragrance snob who turns his nose up at people pleasers. In fact, my holy grail is a fragrance that is both unique and a people pleaser. Doesn't say what it is, but he'll have you know. But this just smells like Curve, about 5 times cheaper than Curve, and Legend Mont Blanc, Legend Intense. It also has poorer projection than Curve and poorer longevity than the Legend. Smells like many other fragrances. If you want a generic people pleaser with the Dior name, you will love this. Otherwise, don't bother. That's a great start. Lets you know how this one was received initially. So apparently, Dior Sauvage is really pathetic, really, and also smells like Liz Claiborne Curve, which is a fragrance you can get for like $12, but not just that, this is also 5 times cheaper than that. It's like a $2 fragrance. Excuse me, it's like a $3 fragrance. And also it smells like Legend and Legend Intense. So it smells like Curve and Legend. But that's not all. Also Dior Sauvage, of course, the fragrance really well known for piss poor performance, is being called out right there. Poor longevity, poor projection, of course. This is not a hater review. This is well thought out. Let's go to the next one. I'm sure it's also really spot on. I tested this out and it was very boring and generic, destined for TJ Maxx. There are much better options available from other designers. Both of these fragrance reviews come from basically when this was launched, when it was brand new. At the time, did anybody know it was gonna go on to be basically the best-selling men's fragrance of all time? Well, probably not, because I don't think that this is what I would consider destined for TJ Maxx, which is essentially just the crappy clearance bin is what they're trying to say. But if any of you out there have ever found this for about 25, 30 bucks at TJ Maxx, I hope you picked it up. Let's go to another review. Let's see how this one is. Oh, 100% moth repellent. The ingredient list is missing Granny's semi-translucent mothballs and those horrible urinal cubes from the 80s. Absolutely abhorrent. Should only be sold in big farming supplies warehouses and come with a chemical warning. Possibly my most hated fragrance of all time. P.S. I'm a huge Christian Dior fan. I love it. Moth repellent, garbage, urinal pucks, it's trash. It should have a chemical warning. It gave me AIDS. P.S. I like Christian Dior a lot. It's really good. Except for this one. That was one of the common things that popped up a lot when this was new. People just saying, hey, this is chemical trash, this is chemical warfare, this is generic, it's boring, it's whatever. It's good to see that things have changed so much in the past 10 years. Nobody would talk about this new fragrance release wise, right? Or talk like this, I should have said. Let's go ahead and do one more review here. And I will say there are some reviews that are like a thesis on Dior Sauvage. There are some reviews that are like 10 paragraphs long on this thing. Ugh, absolutely miserable. Reminiscent of Bleu de Chanel without the depth, breadth, or character. Smells like it was rushed to market without any market testing or even thought as to whether anyone would like it or not. Smells almost like something Axe/Lynx would have concocted. Not pleasant at all. And to add insult to injury, the longevity is barely passable and the sillage is meh. Dior has sunk to a new low. Oh man, if only you could have seen into the future. If that is even possible, he says. Johnny Depp is going to rue the day he signed up to endorse this train wreck. So you can see, Dior Sauvage just really had people loving it so much right from the get-go. Very pumped. I'll also say there were a lot of reviews of this one that were pointing out Bleu de Chanel, throwing it back to Bleu de Chanel. That's how you do it. Bleu de Chanel, classy, elegant, so much better. The quality of the ingredients so much higher than Dior Sauvage. That's how it should have been done. Dior fumbled the bag. They're trash. And another thing I saw, there were, again, a lot of reviews, enough to go around. We'll cover more maybe in a future video, but I saw a number of reviews pointing out that they thought this was gonna flop in a big way, that Dior had put out absolute garbage. Nobody was gonna like this, absolute failure, and that Dior was gonna be trying to walk it back because of how big of a flop and failure this was gonna be. I don't think it worked out like that. And since Bleu de Chanel kept being brought up about how much better it was than Sauvage, I figured let's go ahead and look at some Bleu de Chanel ones. Bleu de Chanel Eau de Toilette came out in 2010. I believe it was summer 2010. So let's go ahead and check out a couple reviews from around that time frame. I'm sure it's way more positive than what happened with Dior. I am absolutely certain that there is not a consistent thing that happens where fragrances are always hated on when they first come out, and then down the road, people like them a lot more. That does not happen. I've never done that myself. What a complete letdown. I love and use old Chanel scents, but this one is nothing to compare. The longest middle note painfully resembles CK's Euphoria. It's so average, so universal, so everybody's choice that I would never pay the price. The longevity is nothing to write home about either. Too blue to be black, too black to be blue, the producer claims. Come on, for me, it's a boringly pinkish scent at best. I have no clue what that means. I don't know if I've ever heard of somebody spray on a fragrance and be like, blue, black, this is pink. Especially when it smells like this. Like, I'll have some of what you're smoking. So average, so universal that it actually created its entirely new fragrance category in the way that we know it today. Wait, no, that sounds way too positive. That is a funny thing though with a lot of these fragrances is actually when they came out, they were decently new and caught on in a big way, but a lot of people were always like, boring, trash. Like it doesn't matter what fragrance it is, boring. Let's check another review here. I'll stick to Egoist. It's the only Chanel fragrance for men that I like. It's no surprise at all that they went for this massive market that's waiting for the new woody fresh fragrance from wherever is coming. All the Justin Beavis lookalikes or whatever his name is, and all the fashion-forward metrosexuals will be pleased with this crap. What a disappointment. What? Justin Beavis, that's a good one. Fashion-forward metrosexuals with the new woody fresh fragrance. Apparently that's Bleu de Chanel. But that's not all. No, of course not. A rather uninspiring fragrance from the house of Chanel. It's really sad that this is what we have to come to hope for from a house with such prestige. This is a fresh, clean scent, no doubt. However, there's nothing in it that makes it stand out above all the other fresh scents out there. If I want something fresh, honestly, I'll go back to an old favorite of mine, Liz Claiborne's Sport, which costs less money than this, yet does its job very well and maybe better than what Bleu is trying to do. I am by no means impressed with this. After that whole write-up at the end, I was expecting. I am very impressed with this, so I'm glad you set the record straight there. What is the obsession as well with people picking Liz Claiborne fragrances that smell nothing at all like these ones and going, yeah, it's like Curve, Liz Claiborne Sport. Like if you spray Liz Claiborne Sport here and Bleu de Chanel here and you go, it's basically the same, then I am taking no advice from you. It is cheaper though. You are right there. And apparently, Bleu de Chanel, I'm sorry, you have absolutely nothing that in 2010 had you stand out above the crowd. You're going to fail. I'm sorry. Sorry, Chanel. And there are a few more. Here's one. A big disappointment, not original at all. It's like it doesn't belong to the House of Chanel at all. Where's the Egoiste or the Antaeus, the Monsieur, Allure Homme, Sport Cologne, and Blanche? This wiped out years of success and definitely gonna wipe out fans. That didn't age well. Yeah, that aged like milk. Yeah. And last but not least, this one is not from around the launch. This is a few years later, so surely things have changed. They're looking up. I bought this from Macy's a few months back. Didn't even have to ask to smell it because of all the hype surrounding it, which I learned was a dumb thing to do. I brought this home, took a shower, and applied 2 sprays. And it reminded me of an old man fragrance, much like Old Spice. I immediately returned it. This is a disgusting cologne, most definitely for the older crowd. Very heavy, strong, and dull. Do not fall for the hype. Bleu de Chanel is just awful unless you're 35 plus and want to smell like an old man. This is not a compliment getter from the young ladies. If any, they'll be senior citizens. What an interesting take. So apparently, in 2013, 11 years ago, Bleu de Chanel smelled like an old man's Old Spice. Don't fall for the hype, apparently. I figure let's move on to something a little bit more modern next. Not, something released this year or anything, but something that's only 4 years old. Le Male Parfum. Released around August of 2020. Let's check out some reviews here. My grandma smelled this and died. Great start. Not because it was too good, but because she got too horny looking at the bulge and died. Like the level of absurd stupidity is actually pretty good. I like it. That's all it took. Just that right there, huh? I feel bad for her. Never got touched. I guess had to be touched at least once. So that's a great critique on the fragrance. I feel like we learned a lot. Let's check out the next one. It's sad how things have evolved in perfumery. This is sweet. It's almost stomach turning. Very synthetic and has the bubblegum feel that's so childish and juvenile. This is not how a man should smell. All right, all you guys heard that? If you are a man and you like this fragrance, you should feel ashamed of yourself because it's childish, juvenile, and stomach turning. One thing that I have noticed in looking through a lot of different reviews to make this video is that's one of the go-to disses for fragrances for a lot of people. Too sweet and childish and synthetic and not manly enough. Wait a second, you're telling me the bottle that looks like a dude with his bulge hanging out, who, to be fair, has had a bad day because he's missing his arms, legs, and head, but you're telling me that this is not the manliest bottle you've ever seen? I don't know what you're talking about, brother. Let's see how this next review is, if it's a little bit better. No, it's not. Yuck, yuck, yuck. I did pre-test this in the store a couple months ago, and I thought it was just okay. I mentioned it to a friend in passing and then received it from that friend as a Christmas gift. I don't know. It just seems like a failed attempt at a flanker. The dry down is spicy, which I hate, and it does not last nowhere near as long as the other JPG fragrances. No thank you. I will stick to Le Male and Ultra Male. This is another thing that you will see constantly in reviews. You'll have some people who just really hate the fragrance and they'll be like, oh, by the way, it'll last 15 seconds. I hate it. Whereas everybody that likes it will be like, oh, it's great, it lasts 12 hours. It's like, these are so different. Which one is correct? It's like, it's not a little difference. It's not one person saying, oh, it lasts 4 hours, another says it lasts 5.5. One person will be like, it lasts 30 minutes, and then it's gone completely. It'll last 32 days. For me, it does last a long time. I get good performance with this one. I can't complain. And I do think it's funny though, that he starts off the review, yuck, yuck, yuck. I tried it out in stores. I thought it was okay, then I mentioned it in passing. I got it for a present for Christmas, and I fucking hate it. Like, wait, what? What? This is all over the place. You tried it in a store, you thought it was okay, mentioned it in passing, and they bought it for you. They had to think that you liked it. Or maybe they smelled it on you, thought it smelled amazing, and then bought it for you, I guess. It could be that. Because I can't imagine you would be in passing like, I tried this thing, it kind of sucks. And then they go, I got you, brother. Let's do a little niche one. What better niche to do than Layton? I mean, maybe Juventus, but yeah. This one came out fall 2016. Let's go ahead and check it out. A blob of generic notes with none of them really standing out, except for the flat, bland vanilla and the overused herbal lavender. It smells cheap. I owned it, but got rid of it. Don't fall for the hype. This isn't a very good nor well-made fragrance. It's bad enough that I suspect the YouTube reviewers who push this stuff are being compensated for doing so. That review is from about a year after this one came out. I have never been compensated by Parfums de Marly. I think that they actually hate me. Love you guys. I've never actually spoken to them, I've just heard. But as far as this one, a blob of generic notes with none of them really standing out except for the flat, bland vanilla and overused lavender. Let me see. Oh no, I can feel my world changing. Oh no, it still smells good, yeah. I ordered a sample of this perfume and returned it because I thought it must be a mistake. This could not possibly be the scent that everyone on YouTube was raving about. They sent me a new sample and I was equally disappointed. Then I tested it out at Nordstrom to make sure. And yep, I just find this to be awful. Cloyingly sweet and suffocating. Kind of like someone sprayed the cheapest possible hairspray and pepper spray into an incense store. Everyone else loves this, which is great. I've heard lots of great things about PDM. I just hope no one in my family or friend group discovers the scent because I couldn't put up with it. The sweetness on this one apparently really triggers some people. They don't like that. This next review, very short and sweet, straight to the point. Oh, sweet. Lasted like 2 hours, then became a skin scent. Absolutely pitiful. Gotta get that performance up, bro. I didn't like this at all. I know how unpopular of an opinion it is, considering the thousands who swear by Layton, but this to me was absolutely sickening with how sweet it was. I ordered a sample after hearing so much hype about Parfums de Marly as a whole, and this fragrance was 2 firsts for me. A, the first time a sample went straight into the garbage, and B, the first time I had to wash a fragrance off myself for fear of vomiting. The sweetness of the vanilla was so overwhelming and I couldn't handle it. Would recommend anyone to at least try since so many love it, but I will never be putting this on again. Pretty intense. Just out there almost puking because of it. I don't know, man. The vanilla in here, I think smells really good, like sparkling, sweet, warm, spicy. But for some people, it very obviously is too much and does not work. Let's get one last one in here for old Layton and we'll finish strong. Someone below said that this took the crown from Juventus. Damn, this is so awfully sweet and loud. Literally, like you took a bath in tube full of vanilla custard. I'm glad I paid for sample instead of full bottle. Would be devastated. Another proof people are sheeps and will buy anything that YouTubers recommend. In terms of performance, it's above average. And then an edit. I just finished my 2 samples, and although fragrance grew on me, performance is terrible. Amazing projection for an hour, then skin scent for next 3 to 4. I think I was just too hyped reviewing it at first. Both of my samples are 82% volume, so according to people here, new formulation. I recommend you getting sample first, as splashing almost 180 pounds might be as painful as paying for recent Creed Aventus. He paid for sample instead of full bottle and smells like tube of custard. People are sheeps. Also, performance is above average. Also, performance is terrible. Also, it grew on me. Also, it's too hyped. Also, I was too hyped. Also, don't pay full retail. Also, I don't know anymore. We'll end on a clean note with this one, Prada L'Homme. This came out 2016. It's a pretty good year for fragrances. And it's another one that came out around August. So right in that time frame, kind of heading into fall. From 2016, it looks like Prada made a serious investment in branding. 3 logos on the bottle and the cap. Really, too many, even for this label. So there's Prada here, and Prada there. Whew, ridiculous. Why would they do that? Oh my God, on the bottom it says Prada too. Ugh, disgusting. Anyway, too many logos for this label. And making a statement with the bottle. Ridiculously, excessively heavy with enormous canvas leather wrapping. Sometimes some people really do complain about everything. Look at this stupid bottle. They made it heavy. They put a leather wrap looking thing on it. They put the brand name on it. Are you effing kidding me? They tried to make it look high end. The F is wrong with them. Gross. And in reference to investment in the fragrance itself, they say they have not done that, unfortunately. Both scents from this duo, referencing this one and the female version that came out at the same time, are generic and soulless. And even the formal suit by Prada has more soul and charisma than this emblematic scent. It feels all and nothing mixed together in a helpless attempt to please a not very demanding audience of shopping malls and department stores, instead of bringing something new and exciting to the brand's legacy, following its DNA and discreet Prada perfumery art of the past. This scent bears the name which it doesn't deserve, launched by mistake. That's how I take it. So basically, yeah, they shouldn't have invested on the bottle because this is gaudy, and also the fragrance itself is trash. I blind bought this cologne based on all the good reviews. This was a couple years after launch, and really wanted to love it. But sadly, I don't. I actually kind of hate it. I mean, there's a good chance other people will like it on me, but I can't stand it on myself. It's way too soapy for me. I feel like this is the smell of a well-groomed old woman. Maybe it just doesn't mix well with my body chemistry, I'm not sure. But if you're a manly man, this might not be the fragrance for you. Longevity is good. Could smell it on myself the morning after, so easy, 7 to 8 hours. Could smell it on myself the morning after what? Not much to say about this new launch by Prada. Let's make it very simple. Smells like a badly reformulated Dior Homme with some mall-style woody ambers thrown in the base. Oh, let's not forget the most generic patchouli to make it smell more masculine. Next. Ha ha ha! That is another go-to diss, which is smells like a mall fragrance. Like, yeah, 90-something% of designers are probably sold in malls. I mean, I know, I get it. It's like this whole idea that if you're shopping for a fragrance at a mall, then you're a pleb, and that you don't deserve nice things or something, and you smell like an NPC or whatever. To me, that's very like elitist, but you know, whatever. All right, last review. Another nice scent from Prada, totally in line with the spirit of their Infusion collection. Oh, starting off good here. Another nice scent from Prada, good. In other words, disappointing. Oh, nothing new here. A recipe that has been tried a million times appears again, polished to the point of becoming something indifferent. Very safe and well-mannered with timid sillage and mediocre tenacity. It is even housed in a mediocre flacon. What is it with the Prada bottle that people hate so much? I always thought this looked pretty good. Nope, mediocre. Nothing to excite, nothing to seduce, nothing to shock, because that's what Prada's about. Could have been a very nice, alas, weak female scent if Infusion Iris wasn't already a much better version of this. There are much better irises out there. Men who like this should consider wearing Infusion Iris, preferably the gold label one. as it is much more of a statement maker and has better technical aspects than this watered down concoction. If Prada is that desperate that resorts to copying its past hit scents, then at least can it choose from its private line? That would make so much more sense. I would say actually don't go for that infusion. That one is way more feminine leaning than Prada L'Homme and much more powdery. And I know you're like, what? This is pretty powdery. Ooh, that one is more so. If you're gonna go with an infusion fragrance, Infusion Dome would be the one to go for. That one is still really soapy, but easier to wear as a guy. And you can go Prada Amber also. But Prada L'Homme fits in. It fits in with those three for sure. They're all like similar ideas. But I think for the majority of people, this is actually the best of the three, much as that will pain some people to hear. They'll just call me a moron. It's okay. So there we go, guys. There are some reviews of these fragrances when they were newer and a little bit after their release as well. Some things never change. Thank you guys for hanging with me. Stay safe out there. We'll tackle some other fragrances in a future video. Let me know some of the scents you would like to see me look up some reviews for, and we can go over them, share them together. Thank you guys so much, and to everybody that left those reviews, thank you as well. Stay safe out there, guys. See you tomorrow with another fragrance video.